Well, hello. I'm back with another playthrough of her interactive Nancy Drew series. Today I'm going to play game number 8, the Haunted Carousel. And this game was released back in 2003, and it's a game I really enjoy, and I do distinctly remember getting this game, although I didn't get it quite as quickly as I could have. I had ordered the game, or pre-ordered the game, I believe, from EB Games, which is in a city other than the one I lived in. I live in a small town, and I had a family friend who happened to be going into the city who picked it up for me, and I didn't pick it up from her when she got back right away. For whatever reason, I was too lazy. I took a couple days before I went and grabbed it, which is particularly pathetic given that she lived in the same neighborhood as me. It was maybe a 5-minute walk to her house. So I don't know why I wasn't more excited about going over and getting this game. And it turned out to be a game I really enjoy. I really like the light atmosphere of this game, despite the fact that there's a haunting. But it is very light and sort of happy, even though there's some really depressing aspects of the storyline. But I do think it's just great fun. And today is a nice sunny day, one of our few we've had this year, so I'm really looking forward to actually diving into this one. So without further ado, I will stop my rambling and start the game.
Welcome to my latest case, the Haunted Carousel. To start playing, choose either Junior or Senior Detective. If you're new to adventure games or need some help, choose Tutorial.
And I'm going to choose Senior Detective as usual.
Dear Ned, well, here I am at Captain's Cove Amusement Park, about to try to figure out what's behind all the weird things that have been happening here lately. First, a horse just disappeared off the carousel one night. Then, a little later, the carousel started spinning around all by itself in the dead of night, as if it was haunted or something. And then, last week, the roller coaster suddenly stopped in mid-ride for no apparent reason. Nobody was seriously hurt, but the park was shut down until the city knows for sure what caused the accident. I'm here because Paula Santos, the park's owner, is a friend of Dad's. She's putting me up at the Captain's Quarters Hotel, which is next to the park. I'm supposed to head over there right now and meet with a security guard named Harlan Bishop. I hope I don't let Paula down. Wish me luck. Ever yours, Nancy. P.S. There's a rumor going around that the park is cursed. Creepy, huh?
I really like that integration of the spinning carousel in the background at the end with the letter. I just think that's really well done and a really nice touch. So I'm going over to the laptop, even though I don't have to yet. I think you can actually get away without doing anything on the computer. Possibly. There's one thing I'm not sure about. There's our menu. Our Sony TV rather than Sony.
Rolf Kessler.
I really like this wallpaper. It's very creative and suits the space very well. It's good to know we have our iron here. I'm not going to turn it on. At least not yet.
Will the young lady who just entered the park please turn immediately and enter the whale's mouth directly to her left? Thank you.
Please enter the whale's mouth. I love it.
Well, from the way you just marched right on in here past all those sorry we're closed signs, you're either who I think you are or you're one determined gatecrasher.
You must be Harlan. Paula Santos said you'd be expecting me.
Which means you must be Nancy Drew, famous teen detective.
And once again, I'm going to point this out. In these early games, we were given more than one option for how to reply, and I think it's great. If Her Interactive ever continues with the games, I really hope that they do this again. Hint, hint.
Substitute the word amateur for famous. And yes, that's me.
I don't know, Miss Santos seems to have a lot of faith in you. Apparently more than she does in some people around here.
You're not offended that I'm here, are you?
Me? Nah. I'm too busy to be offended. Truth is, I begged Miss Santos to keep me on while the park's closed. Even agreed to a pay cut.
So you're not intimidated by all this curse stuff?
Somebody swiped the horse off a carousel and now it's malfunctioning. The police don't think it's that big a deal, and frankly, neither do I.
So you think the carousel starts up by itself because some wires got damaged?
Makes sense to me. Of course, I'm no expert, and Ingrid swears she can't find anything wrong with the carousel's electrical system. But then, I kind of think she doesn't want to.
Why do you say that?
She's the park's chief engineer. Believes in all this wacky new age psychobiogenic stuff. Like if you eat food served by a waiter who's in a bad mood, you'll get scurvy or something.
Oh my.
Where can I find her?
First things first. You won't be meeting her or Elliot Chen, the park's art director, until after you go see the park's bookkeeper, Joy Trent. Miss Santos' orders. Joy pays all the bills, so she knows pretty much everything that's going on. Plus, she'll give you an access card. Miss Santos wants you to have the run of the place.
Which is really cool.
That would certainly help.
Wait, hang on. I know Joy won't give you one of these, so I will. Here you go. It's a Captain's Cove fun card. Lets you ride the rides and play the games on the midway.
Little did we realize the value of the fun pass.
Come back to me if you burn through that one and need another.
Am I not supposed to have this?
Well, see, Joy's just kinda joyless.
I love that line.
It never occurred to her that you might want to have some fun while you're here. Of course, she's a newbie too, like me. Maybe she'll come around. Anyway, here's a map of the park. I put an X where Joy's office is.
What did you mean when you said you were a newbie?
I've only worked here for a couple of weeks. I figured staying on while the park was closed would help me get up to speed on all the equipment and such.
Where did you work before you came here?
Oh, I worked in a store, department store, you know, as a security guard. In Flemington, not around here.
He didn't sound very confident in that response.
I see you have a security camera trained on the carousel. Does that mean you got the theft of that carousel horse on tape?
We didn't start monitoring the carousel until after the theft, but we do have one of those so-called hauntings on tape. Want to see it?
If it's not too much of a hassle.
I got the tape right here all queued up. I played it for the police. Like I said before, they weren't real impressed. There's no sound, on the tape at least. The band organ started up when the carousel did. Stayed on for about 30 seconds, then stopped.
Did you notice that burst of static just before the carousel started to turn?
Probably just a glitch in the tape. We use them over and over.
Have you tried to prove your screwed up wiring theory?
I ain't no cop, but now that you're here, maybe you can prove it for me.
It's interesting that we can watch the tape repeatedly. When I first played the game, I thought, surely the point of this is so that I can catch something. But no, it's just so you can watch it over and over again. To my knowledge, you can't actually gain anything by repeatedly watching the recording. Which, in some ways, is useless, but it's nice. It's like when they've got things that you can look at that don't actually serve a purpose in the game. It's just an extra thing to do. This is something I think someone would naturally ask to do, to watch the tape again, and they might not glean anything new from it. So I do like that you can just keep watching the tape if you want. Or I shouldn't say keep watching it, but you can watch it over and over.
I'll see you around.
Sounds good.
The phone number for the police. That might come in handy.
It sure will. And X marks the spot for Joy's office.
Hello?
Hi, Nancy. It's Paula Santos. I was wondering when I'd hear from you. Have you been out to the park?
Yes, I have.
I forgot to tell you. All the rides are shut down except for the carousel. I thought you might need to see it in action. But please, take a good look at the roller coaster, even if you can't ride it.
You instantly know that that is Simone Mueller's voice. A distinct voice.
What did the police find when they looked at it?
They looked around for 5 minutes, then left. Said as long as the insurance company was going to investigate, why should they?
Well, I'll see what I can do, Miss Santos.
I can't wait to hear what you turn up. Call me as often as you like. My phone's on and with me 24/7. Oh, and one more thing. Call me Paula.
All right. Goodbye, Paula.
Now on to Joy's office.
Hello, are you Nancy?
Yes, I am. You're Joy?
Joy Trent. Sorry about the mess. So, I'm supposed to give you an access card.
No hurry. If you're in the middle of something, please go ahead and finish up.
That's okay. I'd just as soon get this little farce over.
Excuse me?
You're only here because it makes it look like Paula Santos had nothing to do with any of this cursed garbage.
Are you saying she did have something to do with it?
I've seen how Paula runs the park. All she wants is to get more and more people through that gate. And what better way to do that than with a carousel that's allegedly haunted?
But why would she sabotage the roller coaster? She can't make any money with a park shut down.
She probably just didn't know the park would be shut down.
Have you ever confronted Ms. Santos with your suspicions?
Of course not. I don't want to get fired. Besides, nobody's been hurt, except that glorified con artist who claims his neck got injured, Lance Huffington. And the truth is, Paula offered me this job because she knew I needed the money, and I'm not entirely ungrateful. My father died recently. His estate is in bankruptcy. He used to be co-owner of the park. 2 years ago, he suffered a huge financial setback, and he had to sell his share to Paula. When he died 2 months ago, he was flat broke. Paula could have bailed him out, but she didn't. Frankly, I think the reason she hired me was guilt.
Well, there's some tension there.
Right. I'm supposed to get an access card from you?
Here you go. That should get you into all the private areas of the park. But if you run into problems, don't come to me. Ask the chief engineer, Ingrid Corey. Her office is by the haunted house. The only other people in the park right now are Harlan Bishop and the art director, Elliot Chin. His studio is right by the treasure chest souvenir shop. But try not to bug him.
Does he not like to be disturbed?
He's behind in his work and needs to catch up. Ms. Santos has been getting on my case about it. Well, I think you have everything, so if you'll excuse me.
Oh, right. Thanks for all your help. Sorry if I disturbed you.
Okay. Some pretty cool posters in here.
The haunted house used to be a ballroom. How's that for irony?
I don't know if I'd call it ironic. Seems a weird word to use.
Maybe I should give Detective Paris a call. Hidden jewels. Maybe that's what whoever stole that carousel horse was after. Jewels from that heist.
It's a great little storyline. Okay, let's make some phone calls. Yes. Police department. Start there.
Captain's Cove Police Station.
Detective Paris, please.
Hang on.
This is KJ.
Hi, I'm trying to help Paula Santos figure out what's been going on at Captain's Cove lately. You know, a carousel horse gets stolen, the roller coaster suddenly stops.
Just so happens Paula Santos is a good friend of mine.
I'm wondering if maybe that carousel horse was stolen because there were jewels hidden inside it from the robbery of the Captain's Quarters hotel safe 23 years ago.
Never occurred to me, but it's possible, I suppose. The thief's name was Chaz Dunning. Died in prison about a year ago. I'll tell you what, I'll make some calls, try to see if there was somebody he confided in before he died. Somebody who was recently released.
In case you didn't get the name, it's Nancy Drew. Let me give you my phone number.
No need, got it right here. This is a first-class operation, got caller ID and everything. Well, as soon as I know something, you'll know something.
Thanks, Detective Paris. It was great talking to you.
Ditto.
I remember when caller ID was new. Such a big deal. And now it's fairly standard. It's frustrating when someone doesn't have an ID showing. Okay, where should I go next? Let's just go clockwise.
I wonder what the deal is with this red tag.
Nick. Wouldn't even let me swipe. Let's go to the carousel.
Let's go for a spin on the carousel. By the way, you have 4 fun credits left on your card. Enjoy the ride. Ha-ha.
Haha. I'm a little bummed I can't choose
Carousel will be
which.
starting in 3 seconds, so hang on tight. And don't forget to try for the brass ring.
I'm a little bummed I can't choose which horse I want to ride.
Here comes the brass ring. Get ready. Oops.
Oh. Normally get it the first try.
Here it comes again.
Oh. I got too excited.
You're in the emergency room?
I fell off the carousel. I was trying to grab the brass ring and reached too far.
You were what?
It's kind of a long story. Uh-oh, I have to hang up now. They want to x-ray my head.
I should probably come down there and have my head examined too. What was I thinking, asking you to play detective? Well, I know what I'm thinking now. You're off the case.
That's really embarrassing. I don't know the last time that happened. Let's try that again.
The carousel will be starting in 3 seconds, so hang on tight. And don't forget to try for the brass ring.
Yeehaw! Here comes the brass ring. Get ready. Got it.
There we go.
Here it comes again.
But I already have the ring. Oh, it's a whole bunch of them that have come down. Ah, it makes sense now. I didn't notice all the rings in a row. I guess you could drop into a slot so you can grab them. Okay. So the first time I played this game, it took me a long time to realize I could just walk through here. I didn't have to feed my fun pass through and just ride the carousel. So that's where our missing horse used to stand. That one doesn't work. Nor does that one. Okay.
Hello?
Hi, Nancy. KJ Paris. I got some preliminary info on that jewel thief. You know Chaz Dunning?
Great, let's hear it.
Okay. Before he died, he got to be real good buddies with his cellmate at New Jersey State Prison. And his cellmate was paroled less than 2 months ago.
Ah, so immediately you sort of think we might have a suspect.
Do you know the guy's name?
Well, apparently he's used a lot of aliases. The guy I talked to wasn't sure which name he was released under, but he did give me a description. Dark hair, medium build, clean-shaven, heavy Jersey accent. Like I said, I'm still in the process of making calls. I just thought I'd let you know what I had so far.
Thanks, Detective. You've been a big help.
Woohoo. Time to meet Ingrid Corey.
Looking for someone?
If you're Ingrid Corey, not anymore.
That's me. Ordinarily, I don't do the hands-on work, and I'd be able to shake your hand, Ms.
I'm sorry, Drew. Nancy Drew. I'm helping Ms. Santos discover what's behind these carousel hauntings. Okay if I ask you some questions?
Sure. Oh my. You've got B3 issues.
I do?
Vitamin B3. Niacin. The vibe you're giving off tells me you're low. Nothing that some natural peanut butter on a slice of whole wheat bread once a day won't fix.
I'm probably not the only person who, when they put peanut butter on bread, immediately thinks niacin. It's definitely where my mind goes.
Thanks for the advice. How long have you worked here?
A little less than 2 years. I started out in maintenance and worked my way up. I've held the supervisory position for the last 10 months.
Do you have any idea what caused that roller coaster accident?
Someone stole a horse off the carousel, and now the park is cursed.
So you think this cursed thing is real?
The man who carved the horses, Kessler, he said if they were ever separated, bad luck would follow. And it has.
Could I see the blueprints of the roller coaster so you can show me exactly where on the track it stopped?
I've looked all over for those blueprints and can't find them anywhere. I'm sure one of the other engineers knows where they are, but I'm afraid I don't. Sorry.
Any idea why someone would steal a horse off a carousel?
Money. I hear they can be very valuable.
I'd like to take a closer look at the roller coaster, but the access card reader doesn't work. It's got this red tag on it.
Right. I was in the process of upgrading its main circuitry board. I'm afraid you're going to have to wait until I finish here. Unless you'd like to do it for me.
Doesn't know me at all, but thinks I can probably fix the circuit board. What faith she has.
I'm game, but needless to say, I've never done it before.
It's not exactly brain surgery. All you have to do is follow the schematic inside the reader. Here's the new macro resistor. When you see the board, you'll be able to see where it goes. You'll need to solder it in place. Which means you're going to have to get my soldering gun from Elliot Chen. Here's the engineering handbook I put together. If you have questions about park-related electronics, it'll answer them. Keep it as long as you like.
It looks so clean and professional. I really like it.
When you're all done, remove the red tag and take it to Harlan. That way he'll know it's safe to turn the power back on to the reader.
That's not my cell phone. It must be yours. Are you gonna answer it?
No, that would be rude. I'll just call them back. So, once you get that tool from Elliot, you should be all set.
I really appreciate this little thing where she doesn't answer her cell phone. You might think that it's suspicious because she doesn't want to take this call from, spoiler alert, probably Lance Huffington. But she is right, it is rude to answer when you're already speaking with someone else. Whoever it is can wait. Before we had cell phones, people couldn't reach us all the time. They would call your landline. If you had an answering machine, they'd leave a message. If you didn't have an answering machine, they would just call back. People, I think, were a lot more patient back in the day. With cell phones and all this access, I think people expect instant gratification, and I personally find it really frustrating. You don't have to answer your phone as soon as it rings. The person can call back, or they can leave a message. It's not the end of the world unless it's an emergency. And most of the time, phone calls are not emergencies. Anyhow, continuing on.
How well do you know Harlan Bishop?
I know he's an ex-bouncer from Trenton. I also know it drives him nuts that this is one of the few places in the park he doesn't have a key for.
I don't seem to be having much luck using my access card. Am I doing something wrong?
I deactivated most of the readers because of the shutdown. Soon as I get done here, I'll get them online again. Sorry. Hey, if you come across a pair of pliers, hang on to them, okay? Mine are missing. Someone must have walked off with them.
Do you mind having to work during the shutdown?
Not a bit. Keeping those card readers functioning is practically a full-time job all by itself. Plus, I happen to adore my job.
Thanks for your help.
No big deal.
Okay, I'm not going to look around this space any further because I know she gets huffy if we do that another time. And let's make an accident happen.
Hang on, I'll be right with you.
Take your time. Uh-oh.
out. And do not come back unless and until Joy Trent calls me. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm not off to a great start. First I fell off the carousel, and then this happened. I'll get to Joy in a minute. Let's go here next. See if this works now. Yes, it does. So I think of this as kind of a continuity error. So for those who've played the game, the odd sounds from below are caused by Elliot.
What is that noise?
And we just saw him.
Sounds like it's coming from below.
Spook number 3. Oh, I can't even click on you yet.
Just an old radiator.
That's what you would like to think. Okay. I might go to Harlan again soon too. Haha, right.
Who are you, and what are you doing?
Who said that?
I said that. Over here, on top of the cabinet. Keep going. Over here. Please identify yourself.
I'm a detective named Nancy Drew, and you are?
I am Miles, the Magnificent Memory Machine. I receive and process video and audio input and make appropriate pre-programmed verbal responses.
Who programmed you?
It is my turn to ask a question, Nancy Drew. Why are you here when Joy is not?
As a matter of fact, I need to leave a message for her.
There is a pad for leaving messages on the desk.
So, who programmed you?
Responding to the non-Joy entity is an unnecessary drain on my power units and is heretofore disallowed.
What does that mean? Hello? Miles? I guess it means he's not going to talk to me anymore.
For now. He's so creative. Bicycle handles up here. This little oven thing from a gramophone. He's a compilation of a whole whack of things. Pipes, I'd never noticed those. I remember on the message board for every game, on the case closed subboards, there was always a poll for your favorite character, and as far as I recall, Miles the Magnificent Memory Machine has the most votes for the Haunted Carousel. A non-human character won that time. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he has the top votes. Or at least he did years ago.
I can use this to leave a note for Joy to call Elliot.
The dogs. From Ghost Dogs.
Looks like Joy's a pencil chewer.
Let's see. Can I search through the cabinets?
Looks like stenography. It's a memo about one of the carousel horses being sold. I wonder which horse.
Oops. There we go. Okay, let's talk to Harlan.
Hey, Nancy, what's up?
I'm afraid I got off on the wrong foot with Elliot. I spilled paint all over something he'd been working on.
No, it was on the floor.
Ooh, not good. The guy's already about a month behind in his work.
That is the one line that really irks me about this game. Saying that Nancy spilled paint all over something he'd been working on. No, it was just spilled all over the floor. So, that's always really bothered me. It's not exactly accurate.
Any idea why he's so far behind?
He's a procrastinator, doesn't really like to work, so he does whatever he can to avoid it. Puts things off to the last minute. Me, I get stuff done right away. You do too, I'll bet.
Is he in danger of losing his job?
Way I hear it, if he doesn't get caught up like fast, He's gonna be waving bye-bye like soon.
This is also a line that stuck out to me, and I don't know why. I find it amusing, even though the grammar really grates me.
I'll see you around.
Go get him.
Okay. Should have turned the other way, that would have been faster. Let's go to the hotel. Let's see, I'm going to use my phone directory, see if there's any more news.
Captain's Cove Police Station.
Detective Paris, please.
Hang on.
Hi, Nancy. Nothing new at this end. What have you got?
I like that he assumed it was me calling. I hadn't introduced myself.
How much do you know about Daryl Trent? You know, the guy who used to be the co-owner of Captain's Cove, Paula's former business partner?
I met him a couple of times. Real friendly guy. Young at heart. More of a kid than most kids. I kind of think that's what killed him, you know? His body just got too old for his soul.
Oh, what a thought. I don't recall ever having this conversation. Or if I did, it was years ago. I really like that line.
Did you ever meet his daughter?
I didn't even know she existed until Paula mentioned she'd hired her.
Thanks, Detective. You've been a big help.
Hey, say hi to Paula for me.
Well, I can try. Let's see. Let's call Paula.
Paula Santos.
Hi, Paula.
Nancy, what's going on?
What can you tell me about the people working at the park during the shutdown?
I frankly don't know any of my employees that well. I'm a very hands-off kind of boss. I believe in hiring the best, then stepping aside and letting them do their best.
Interesting. I can appreciate that, but I do also think that any boss should be involved. They should know what's going on. So, yes, interesting.
Well, what are some of your general impressions?
Well, let's see. Ingrid Corey is extremely competent and has no problems managing the maintenance staff. Although
what?
it's just that sometimes she goes off on these strange new agey type tangents and totally loses me. Anyway, there's Harlan Bishop, very conscientious. Elliot Chen, very talented, but a very slow worker. And Joy Trent, Joy is hard to describe.
I understand you and her father used to be business partners.
I've yet to meet a man who was as terrific with people and as horrible with money as Daryl Trent was. He stayed afloat for 30 years on sheer charisma, I swear.
What happened to him?
His bad investments caught up with him. He sold everything he could, but still wound up drowning in debt. Till one day in bankruptcy court, he just keeled over and died of a heart attack.
How did Joy take it?
I really couldn't tell you. She has never said one word to me about her father, ever.
Is it true that Captain's Cove is being sued by someone who got hurt in the roller coaster accident?
The part about being sued is true, but I don't think the guy got hurt. I think he's just saying that so he can try to squeeze money out of our insurance company.
Just out of curiosity, why do you think someone would steal a carousel horse?
I think it was just a bunch of kids who felt like vandalizing something.
But why would they take the horse? Why didn't they just break it into pieces or something?
I don't know. Maybe they wanted it for a prank. The police think it could still turn up, although they warn me that if it does, it probably won't be in very good shape.
Which is pretty typical of stolen property.
When will the insurance company be sending someone out to investigate the roller coaster accident?
Every time I call, I get the same thing. Someone will be out soon. Which is why I'd really like you to take a look, Nancy. No telling when they'll get around to it.
I read how a customer at Captain's Cove once found stolen jewels on one of the rides, which makes me wonder if that could be why that carousel horse was stolen.
You mean someone stole it because they thought there were jewels stashed inside it? Wow, that's really interesting. Maybe you should tell the police.
As a matter of fact, I called the man who was in charge of the investigation back then, Detective Paris. He's looking into it.
Good. Let me know what you find out.
I found some notes that were written in shorthand. Would you happen to know any stenographers?
No. Come to think of it, I don't think I've ever even met a stenographer. Now that we're in the computer age, stenography has pretty much become extinct.
Yep.
I'll be in touch.
Good.
I think my mom once told me that she used to write in shorthand. I don't know if I'm remembering that correctly, but I think so. Okay, let's call my friends.
Hello?
Hey, Bess, it's Nancy.
Oh, hey, Nancy.
Ouch.
Whoa, you were obviously hoping I was someone else.
Well, kinda.
Okay, so who is he and where'd you meet him?
Oh, Nancy, his name's Matt, and he is so cute. He works the concession stand at the movie theater in the mall. A cute guy with an endless supply of gummy bears and butter flavoring. Right at his fingertips. We're talking major crush.
Hey, George, good, you're there too.
Barely. I almost got caught standing between Bess and the phone just now. When it rings, she's like a one-woman cattle stamp.
What happened to caller ID, Bess?
My parents yanked it. She wouldn't pick up when it was some loser she didn't want to talk to. Her mother got tired of hearing the phone ring all the time. Not all those calls were from losers. Sometimes I was playing hard to get. Anyway, how are things at the amusement park?
I don't know how I feel about them referring to people as losers. I do think that's quite mean-spirited. I might be extra sensitive to it because of my line of work. Working with youth who have anxiety and dealing with bullying. Yeah, that really bothers me. I don't think that aged very well.
I met the security guard, Harlan Bishop. Nice guy. Except when I asked him where he worked before. He seemed kind of evasive.
Is he cute? Bess, what difference does that make? Ugly people have chips on their shoulders and are more likely to commit crimes, George. I read that somewhere. Either read it or saw it on Oprah.
I also find it interesting that they mentioned Oprah. So many things are like made up for the games. They're fictional famous people, like Rolf Kessler. I presume he's not real. Could be wrong, actually. I should maybe look into that. But here they've actually mentioned a real, fairly famous person. This has always stood out to me. I guess because so much is normally fictitious. And Oprah's not as big a person anymore. I mean, I don't know if she even has, I don't know if she still has a business, for lack of a better word. She's just not in the forefront of our minds. And really as a kid, she wasn't either as familiar with the name, but too young to, know truly who she is. So, yeah, that just stands out to me.
He's from New Jersey. I'm pretty sure about that.
Well, I guess that's not surprising. But if he was evasive, we know what that means, don't we, Beth? Suspect list.
I think I might know why somebody stole that horse off the carousel. They were looking for jewels that had been hidden inside it after a hotel robbery.
Hidden jewels? I love it. That's almost as good as buried treasure. But if they recovered the jewels, why is the carousel still going around by itself?
I'm not sure yet, but the detective who is in charge of investigating the robbery is helping me look into it.
Don't let George discourage you, Nancy. I, for one, think you're on the right track. You can never go wrong when jewelry is involved.
Did I tell you that I met the park's chief engineer?
No? Is he cute?
Well, for starters, Bess, Ingrid Corey is a she.
That's cool. Does she know her stuff?
I thought about this earlier and didn't say it, so I might as well now. I do really appreciate that the engineer or chief engineer is female. Sort of breaks some stereotypes. So I really like that.
Seems to, although she doesn't seem to know where the blueprints for the roller coaster are.
Uh-oh. Hiding something, perhaps? Looks like your list of suspects just got longer.
I need you guys to do something for me. I found some stenography notes that I'd really like to translate, only I don't know shorthand.
Say no more. We'll do some research and get right back to you. We will? I barely know how to spell stenography, let alone research it. We'll call you when we're through. We can do this, Bess. What is with all this we stuff?
This is also a great line I've always really liked. What is with all this we stuff?
Joy Trent has a computer in her office that sees, hears, talks, and interrupts people when they're snooping.
And you, of course, were snooping.
Well,
that's our girl. Why does she have such a sophisticated computer?
this thing is not that sophisticated. In fact, it looks like it was made out of spare parts.
Do you think Joy made it?
I doubt it.
Well, the next time it catches you snooping, just smile sweetly, then rip its little plug right out of the wall.
Oh, I like that line too. I didn't remember that one.
I found out that the man who may have hidden jewels in that stolen carousel horse died in prison. But his cellmate, who apparently looks a lot like Harlan Bishop, was recently released.
Harlan just started working there, right? And he doesn't like to talk about where he worked before, right? I think you're onto something, Detective Drew.
Catch you guys later.
We'll be right here. Toodles!
Okay. Oh, I like this music. Alright, Joy.
I really do need to get this
Oh.
work done.
Right. Sorry.
Okay, then Elliot first.
Well, Miss Destructo returns.
Sorry.
I'm really sorry about what happened before.
These things happen. So, I hear you're out to solve the curse of Captain's Cove.
What do you think caused the roller coaster accident?
That was no accident. It was sabotage.
Do you have proof?
Not a lick. Know why? Because I'm pulling your leg, that's why. Come on. What do I know? I'm just an artist. Go ask our naturopathic engineer person.
Do you have any idea who stole that horse off the carousel?
Somebody who's into junk.
That's odd. Ingrid said carousel horses can be very valuable.
Well, when they're the original horses, they can be valuable, yes, but I was talking about the one that was stolen. It was not an original. Around 20 years ago, somebody bought one of the horses off the carousel. The guy who owned the park back then commissioned some hack to replace it.
So the horse the hack carved was worthless?
Right.
The fact that the park is shut down must be kind of a relief for you.
You mean because I'm behind in my work? I'd be lying if I said the shutdown wasn't helping me get caught up. Meeting deadlines has never been my forte. But I certainly hope you're not suggesting that I arranged for the park to be shut down by somehow manufacturing this curse thing, because that would be ridiculous.
Would it though? Well. Maybe for slightly different reasons.
Ingrid said you have her soldering gun. I need to get it from you, if that's okay.
You bet. Here you go. Been meaning to return it to her, but I've been a little busy.
Great, thanks. Do you see much of the other people who are working during the shutdown? Like Joy Trent or that security guard, Harlan Bishop?
Nah. Joy Trent, she's like invisible even when she's visible, if you get my drift. And that rent-a-cop, I've got no desire to see anything of him.
Did you two have some kind of run-in?
What, like a fight or something? How could we? He's one of the nicest, friendliest, most helpful guys I've ever met. Really creeps me out.
Oh, he says this line. This is in that, shoot, I can't think of what it's called. Like letter swap or something. From Alibi and Ashes in Scoops, there's this sort of arcade style game, and it's got a bunch of quotes from previous games. And this is one of them. Starting with, he's one of the nicest, da 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 da. I always associated that with Bess. I did not remember that that was Elliot talking about Harlan. I'm rather amused. Yeah.
I'll let you get back to work.
If you must.
And I'll also snoop. Take some
Would it be
tape.
okay if I took some tape? It might come in handy.
Help yourself.
That also used to really confuse me because I used to click on this roll of tape and I would hear the tape come, but I wouldn't see it move. I often didn't notice the one that was leaning against the wall here.
Could I have some of these tissue strips?
Be my guest.
Not questioning why she's taking them. Nancy doesn't even know why she's taking them yet.
Mind if I look at this?
No, go right ahead.
A book on carousels. Cool.
Do like that she's always asking before she's taking and looking through things. It's very polite.
60 board feet. That's a lot of wood.
This is nothing compared to the price of lumber these days. It's outrageous. Oh, I could use a fan. And it's hot today. Our temperatures of sunlight just shot up. Where am I going? Roller coaster. I think.
Hello? Hi, Nance. We found some stuff on stenography. Oh, so now it's we, huh? Okay, George found most of it, surprise, surprise. But I helped.
Thank you so much. You guys are the best.
So go back to the hotel and check your laptop. We emailed a little tutorial to you. But you gotta promise to let us know what the note you translate says.
I promise. Thanks again, you guys. This takes an employee access card.
I know.
Better not take the tag until I fix this.
Here we go. Okay, I don't even need to read those. I have this memorized. So, there's the resistor. So we just need to solder everything except for connections to this guy, because that makes too many ohms. So we want these one, and these one, and these one, and these one, and these one, these one. I think it's fine to do these ones, just not those last two.
There, that looks right.
Excellent. Let's take the tag, take it to Harlan.
Hey, Nancy, what's up?
Could you turn the power back on to the card reader outside the roller coaster? It's all fixed. Here's the tag.
You bet. I'll just switch the circuit back on and you'll be all set.
Ingrid said you told her that you were a bouncer before you came to work here. In Trenton, not Flemington.
Right. I was. For a while. I've held almost every guard-type job there is. Lived in a lot of different places, too. Trenton, Jersey City, Flemington, Cape May.
Okay, then.
I'll see you around.
Have fun.
Again, I took the long way. Oh, joy. Where do I want to go to the hotel? No, let's talk with Joy first.
I really do need to
Or
get
no.
this work done.
Right. Sorry.
Okay, I probably have to do the roller coaster before she talks to me. So, let's see, inbox. Steno info. So, I could go through all this, but I don't really want to. I wasn't really paying attention to any of this. Well, I'm not going to hear the Y. I'm not going to hear the E. You're not going to hear the W. Okay, maybe I am going through all this. So this is this sort of hook. Okay. Okay. So words are using these strokes. Type in the correct word in longhand below each stenography. So that's me. That's sane. Yes. That's mean. That's name. Woohoo! Oh. RL. All that hook. Sorry, I'm going to mumble to myself. Although I think they actually show these on the next pages so you don't actually have to memorize it. More. Sail, which you could spell two different ways. by the way. Interesting, because yeah, which version of sail? I guess you'd have to know the context of everything else they're writing. Capitalize. Oh goodness, I've already forgotten all of these. It's meant to be a K or a G. I mean, that looks like a G, so it'd be a K. Clue... is it? Or is this one Glory? Maybe this one's Glory. I know what comes up. There we go. It's just this looked smaller than this one, and I was thinking it's not the G. Oh, this one's gray. And I spelled it the American way, which, oh, I guess it is an American game, so you would spell it that way. Can I spell it with an E? I wonder. Anyways, we've now learned stenography. How fantastic. Okay, so Joy's still not going to talk to me. I need to go deal with the roller coaster. I know this. I also still haven't been to Midway Games. Maybe I will go to Midway Games. I like this track. Okay.
Lucky you! You're about to play Squid Toss. By the way, you have 3 fun credits left on your card. Catapult the squid through the hoop.
Okay, how many times or tries is it going to take? Pretty sure it's shrimp for the first one. Yes. Oh, it gets trout. Yes. I think it still needs to be an angle. Let's go with the whale. Huzzah! Fantastic. What are you? Swimmer's Itch. Ooh, yes. Yes, please.
Let's play Swimmer's Itch. You have 2 fun credits left on your card. Your mission is to get the swimmer to the beach.
I love these puzzles. Slider puzzles, they're great. Just gonna do medium though. That way you guys aren't sitting around waiting for me. I already know I've done this wrong. Actually, no, that works. I think that could have been done 2 different ways. You need to move. To go up. Come on, okay. Down. There we go. You up, you down, you over, you down, you over. Lovely. Easy peasy. Thank you.
Uh-oh. Looks like it's out of order.
Okay, I have to talk with Ingrid about that, I guess. Okay, I can get this one. Okay, roller coaster. That's where we're heading next.
This looks like one of Joy's.
Mm-hmm.
Ow! I'm trapped!
Really like this music. Full of tension.
Uh-oh!
Perfect.
To get my foot loose, I need to... Looks like I have to reconnect these wires.
Oh, shoot, I don't know if it's A or B track. I know they go in a diagonal in one order or another.
Now I can turn the power on and see if these are properly connected.
Alright, power on. There we go. Lovely. This music reminds me of Ghost Dogs of Moonlight. It's our Scarlet Hand from a few games ago. Okay, now I can talk to Joy.
Need something?
Yes. We have a few things to talk about, Missy.
Someone activated the roller coaster while I was standing on the tracks just now. I barely managed to escape.
Really? Are you sure it was on purpose? Maybe you accidentally tripped a switch or something.
It was no accident. Does this pencil I found by the tracks look familiar?
That looks like one of mine. But I didn't leave it there. I mean, just because you found one of my pencils, that hardly proves I'm guilty of something.
Joy, while you were gone, the Nancy Drew entity came in here and snooped.
You were snooping around in here?
Well, I was leaving you a note. You know, to call Elliot.
An analysis of sensory input shows that the Nancy Drew entity entered the immediate area during your absence and exhibited non-random seeking behavior.
All right, I was snooping. And now if you don't mind answering a question from me, what is that?
My father was a frustrated inventor. After he died, I discovered that in his study. In his will, he said he made it just for me. I don't have room in my apartment, so I brought him here. I keep him covered when I know I'm going to have company. As you noticed, he can be kind of a blabbermouth.
The
Yes.
word blabbermouth is without meaning to Miles, the magnificent memory machine.
Why does he call himself the Magnificent Memory Machine?
My father said he invented Miles in order to reacquaint me with my childhood. It always bothered him that I was never as happy-go-lucky as he was. What am I, Miles?
Joy Trent is a party-pooping stick in the mud.
So my father programmed him with a bunch of riddles designed to reconnect me with long-lost memories from my childhood.
That sounds fascinating.
I don't see it that way at all. I don't want to relive my childhood. My mother died when I was 4.
My mother died when I was really young, too. Maybe I could help you.
I should be mad that you were snooping around in here. But the truth is, I think it's neat that you're so gutsy. Especially since I'm so not gutsy. Oh, what the heck. Okay, Miles, let's hear the first riddle.
Here is the first riddle. Listen carefully. To be told a truth long since put away, bring me the silvery remains of a 4-bit day.
I have no idea what he's talking about. I knew it would be a waste of time.
Maybe it'll ring a bell with somebody else. I'll ask around.
Do what you want, but I'm not gonna hold my breath.
Yep, she's really, truly joyless. So I have to talk to Elliot about that, but first, going back to the carousel. Because now the card readers should work. And there's some stuff to do here. So this, for now, is just good to see
I'm gonna have
this.
to call Tink. Whoever he is.
See that we have a locked cabinet. This is all just sort of in anticipation of what's to come. And because I now have this doohickey.
Time to start crawling. This goes to the space underneath the carousel.
Yes, it does. It's pretty obvious, I would have thought.
Wonder what that is. If I don't move, I'm gonna get skewered. There's something up there. Looks like a letter.
There we go. Old letter.
The ballroom? That's what was converted into the haunted house.
Seems an interesting place to have stored that
Esper's
letter.
workshop would have been under what's now the haunted house. I wonder if it's still there.
Oh, we can go take a look. I actually feel like there are quite a few things I can do, which is nice. It's not always super linear. Haunted house, there we are. Notice this block now.
It's locked.
Mm-hmm. Need a key. At least we now know that we need a key for this place. Okay. Let's go see Elliot.
Nancy, you're a procrastinator's dream. Know that? Come in. Ask me questions. Ask me lots of questions.
Let's set ourselves up in probably a bad situation.
I found this strange hidden door in the haunted house. Problem is, it's locked. Do you have any idea what's behind it?
Ask Joy. That nutty professor father of hers always had these little secret projects going in the park, even after he sold his interest. Miss Santos didn't have the heart to boot him out.
I found this receipt on the floor. Looks like you bought a lot of basswood recently.
I'll take that, thank you.
I know you're busy, but I was hoping you could maybe help me solve a riddle. If I asked you for the silvery remains of a 4-bit day, what would you give me?
A riddle? I love riddles. Okay, let's see. Silvery remains has to be something silver that's left over, right? Okay, now, if 2-bit means worth a quarter, 4-bit would mean worth 2 quarters. Quarters. Captain's quarters, maybe?
Yeah, I wouldn't have known this. 2-bit means worth a quarter. Not a clue. It's not in my knowledge base, so I'm glad he can figure this out for me.
What about the word day?
Captain's quarters day. Day, spelled D-A-E, as in Sunday. That's it. There's this fantastic sundae you can get only at the hotel. They call it a fun day. It's been their specialty for like centuries. Comes with a souvenir spoon. Silvery, as in spoon, get it?
Elliot, you're a genius.
Next riddle, come on. I'm on a roll, baby. I'm in a groove. Bring it on.
I'll let you get back to work.
Keep it real.
I do find it interesting that the riddle is related to the park. Because what if Joy hadn't wound up working at the park or had completely disassociated herself from it? Would she have ever been able to solve the riddle? Her dad assumed she'd be able to put all these pieces together, but maybe it wouldn't have happened. Let's look at the menu first, just in case.
A room service menu. All right.
This is what we want. Chocolate chip brownie layered with ice cream, banana chunks, nuts, whipped cream, and topped with triple thick hot fudge. Oh my god, that's cavity waiting to happen, and it sounds fantastic.
Hotel operator, what do you want?
Are you the regular operator?
I'm filling in for my cousin Amber. She took the week off on account of the amusement park being shut down. You don't want an outside line, do you?
Actually, I have a cell phone.
Good. Use it. An outside line will cost you an arm and a leg. Besides, I'm not sure how to get you one. So, Miss Oren, what do you want?
That's Drew. Nancy Drew?
Sorry, my cousin's handwriting reeks. So, what do you want, Miss Drew?
There we go.
I'd like to order a fun day, please.
2,480 calories worth of sheer heaven plus one official fun day souvenir spoon coming right up. Anything
That's it. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah, clearly not a trained operator.
Oh, that was so good.
Okay, so before we go take it to Miles, I'm just going to try calling Tink. I don't know if we can even talk to him before we get the riddle that's related to him. Let's just try. I might just go to his voicemail. I think it does.
This is Tink. Sorry, I'm busy fishing, which means you're gonna have to call me back.
Hi, my name is Nancy Drew. My number is 523-555-4399. If you could call me back, I'd really appreciate it.
Okay. So now, let's go back to Joy. Sorry, my brain is also thinking about other things I still have to do.
Any luck?
I'm pretty sure Miles wants us to bring him the souvenir spoon you get when you order a Fun Day Sunday at the captain's quarters. I have one right here.
Give it to Miles and see what happens.
Lay it on me. The scan is complete. The object is correct. Your mother used to take you for a Sunday at the captain's quarters almost every week. Do you remember, Joy?
The captain's quarters fun day. I do remember that. I was so small, I always had to sit on my mother's lap to eat it. I wish I could remember what she looked like.
Don't you have a picture of her?
You were very little when your mother died, Joy. Your grief came out as anger. Before your father could stop you, you destroyed every picture of your mother that he had.
I did that? No, my father told me he had gotten rid of them. He always said some things are better left forgotten. Oh my gosh. I'm the reason I have nothing to remember her by.
That's really sad. Can't even imagine being in that position.
You've probably forgotten everything about that time in your life because it was just too painful to remember.
The older your father got, Joy, the more he realized that life is nothing but memories. He realized that even bad memories have a place in a good life. That is why he invented Miles the Magnificent Memory Machine. Here is the second riddle. This one is written down. Please remove it.
It's just a blank piece of paper.
You and your mother used to love to play this game, Joy.
Ooh.
Once again, I have no idea what he's talking about.
Oh, that's just giving me a great idea for a project to do at work. I hope I remember this after I finish playing the game. Hidden messages with lemon juice. Excellent.
You know, some of the things your father wants you to remember may be pretty painful. Are you sure you want to go on?
If you still want to help me, please, Nancy, keep going. I feel like a door somewhere is starting to creak open. I'm kind of scared to open it, but I also kind of know I have to.
Do you ever talk to the other people who are working during the shutdown?
I'm not very good at socializing. I couldn't even tell you what any of them look like, quite frankly. I go to work, I go home. That's pretty much my life.
That's also a little sad, but that will change, as we know.
I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
You're the greatest.
Oops. Okay. I went slightly too far.
The first 8 notes of your favorite band organ tune, plus 1 mouth organ, plus 1 smidgen of talent, equals 1 happy Miles.
Nope. I knew as soon as I clicked it that was the wrong thing to do. arrow. Turn it off.
I need to turn the iron on.
No. Okay, arrow. That has always been a struggle for me. Always clicking things in the wrong sequence, or clicking when it's red when it should be an arrow, and ugh. Anyhow.
Any luck?
There was a message written in lemon juice on that piece of paper Miles gave us. We're to play the first 8 notes of your favorite band organ tune on a mouth organ for Miles.
My favorite band organ tune? I don't even know what a band organ is. Or a mouth organ either, for that matter.
A band organ is what usually plays the music you hear when you ride a carousel.
And a mouth organ is a harmonica. You used to play the harmonica for your mother all the time, Joy. Your favorite tune was the one you heard on the carousel?
It couldn't have been. I never rode the carousel. I always thought it was stupid. I thought all the rides in the park were stupid.
Is that all you can tell us, Miles?
I have been programmed to give you one hint. The tune is on the 3rd roll. You will have to think about this one. End of hint.
It's all yours, Detective. As usual, I'm stumped.
I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
I really appreciate your help.
Okay, so I'll have to talk to Tink, but I need a harmonica. In order to get the harmonica, I need to fix that midway game. In order to fix the midway game, I have to speak with Ingrid. Ingrid might not be there. I might have to actually go to Harlan.
It's locked.
Yes, I remembered. And Harlan might not be here either. I do remember some things. I mean, I used to play these games so often that I had everything memorized, and I still, for the most part, do. Okay, and this is the locker combination. 10, 11, 90. Oh, Harlan. 10, 11, 90. Nice and easy, not a whole lot of spinning.
Louis G. Wonder who that is. Best way to find out is to call him.
Indeed. Okay, let's get this combination.
It looks like Harlan's been
07,
spying on Ingrid.
26. 726 as I jot that down.
I better put this back where I found it.
Mm-hmm. If you don't, you'll know someone went through his locker. I think I have to unlock it again, do I? No. Excellent. Let's call this.
State Board of Parole, Louis Guerra's office.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said, State Board of Parole, Louis Guerra's office.
Is Mr. Guerra a parole officer?
That's correct. But he's out of the office right now. Would you like to leave a message?
Yes, please. Would you have him call Nancy Drew?
Concerning?
Harlan Bishop. I believe he's a client of Mr. Guerra's.
Is Harlan up to something he shouldn't be?
I didn't say that, but when was he paroled? Do you know?
You're going to have to wait and ask Mr. Guerra that question. What was the name?
Nancy Drew. My number is 523-555-4399. That's my cell phone. He can call me anytime.
I'll let him know.
Thank you.
Okay, and now let's go snoop over here. 0726. Lovely.
Call LH about results. LH. Lance Huffington, maybe?
Which I will do afterwards. I could probably call him now, but I can't help but think if this was real life, I wouldn't stay in here to make a phone call. I would do all my snooping first and call afterward.
Wow, that's one expensive watch.
Paid in cash. That's a whole lot of bills. Okay. So now we want Lance Huffington. Spoiler.
Talk to me.
Yes, hi. Is this Lance Huffington?
You betcha. Who's this?
Well, I'm Nancy Drew. I work with Ingrid Corey. I'm kind of her unofficial assistant here at the park. She tells me everything.
Oh, yeah?
I like him. I mean, he's kind of a creep, but I think it's just unexpected, and I like his delivery of the lines.
She asked me to call you for a status report.
Everything's great. Her plan worked. I'm glad she shared it with me. Life's good. At least it will be when the trial's over and the settlement's in the bank. Whoa, speaking of which, I gotta go. I'm due in court. What'd you say your name was?
Nancy.
Well, Nancy, next time you call me, you could very well be talking to a multi-millionaire. Ta-ta.
Bye. Hello?
Hi, it's Paula. Just thought I'd check in, see how you're doing.
Actually, I'm kind of glad you called.
Why? What's going on?
I'm afraid I've discovered something kind of disturbing about Harlan.
What, that he's an ex-con? I know.
How long have you known?
It was the first thing out of his mouth when he applied for the job. He said being an outstanding security guard would prove to everyone once and for all that he's gone straight.
I also found out that he used a security camera to get the code to Ingrid's work area. And he fits the description of the jewel thief's cellmate that Detective Paris gave me.
Oh, now that's disturbing. But I'm still going to give Harlan the benefit of the doubt until I have good reason not to. I appreciate your bringing this to my attention, though.
All right. Goodbye, Paula.
Not everyone would do that. I do sort of appreciate her willingness to give him a chance, which can be very difficult for ex-cons.
Hey, Nancy, what's up?
I found an old letter in the gear room of the carousel. It was written by the guy who carved all the horses, Rolf Kessler. Is it okay if I keep it?
As far as I'm concerned, I'll mention it to Miss Santos, see what she says.
I found some kind of electronic device under the carousel. I'm pretty sure someone has been turning the carousel on and off at night by remote control.
Why would somebody want to do that? Whatever you found was probably just some kind of toy that fell out of some kid's pocket.
Kessler used to have a workshop under what's now the haunted house. Have you ever been down there?
I didn't even know there was a down there.
So you don't know anything about the hidden door in the room that has the old radiator in it?
Sure don't. Never heard any of the other guards say anything about it either.
I'll see you around.
Knock 'em dead.
No, go this way. This is the shorter way. Slowly learning.
Hello, Nancy. Still on the case, I see.
How well do you know Elliot Chen?
Not very. But I've noticed he has a very strange aura. Very dark around the edges. Odd for an artist, but then it's nowhere near as dark as Joy's. Her aura's a mess.
Why do you think that is?
She's hiding something. And she's hiding from something. Something very big and very dark. Plus, she eats way too many carbs. To say nothing of pencils.
That's a good line, too. There's a lot of really good lines in this game.
I found something underneath the carousel that looks like it might be a remote control device.
Oh, I'd like to see it. Interesting. I looked under there. Wonder how I missed it. May I have this?
Actually, I'd kind of like to keep it.
Suit yourself.
Did you know that the man who carved the carousel horses had a workshop under what's now the haunted house?
How appropriate, considering Kessler's belief in the supernatural and all.
I heard some strange sounds the last time I was in there. They seem to be coming from below.
That's odd. I've been doing a lot of work in there lately, and I haven't heard any strange noises. So either your ears are better than mine, or your imagination is.
I discovered a hidden door in the haunted house.
Is that right?
I was hoping you might know what's behind it.
It's obvious you don't put much stock in curses. But a word to the wise, there really do exist some doors that no one should open. I'd be very careful if I were you.
I got your soldering gun from Elliot and fixed that card reader. Does he borrow your tools a lot?
Very rarely. He's not exactly a mechanical genius.
I understand that you know the man who got hurt in that roller coaster accident, Lance Huffington?
I've talked to him. I don't really know him.
How did you meet him?
Look, what are you getting at?
I was just wondering if maybe you and he are in cahoots.
Are you suggesting that he and I planned the accident? He gets on the coaster, I shut off the power. He cries whiplash and gives me half of whatever he gets from the lawsuit? Interesting theory. Unfortunately, it's totally wrong. I called him to tell him to rub his neck 3 times a day with witch hazel and lavender. If his neck is really injured, that will cure it. Why are you so eager to accuse me of something?
Are you really going to tell me that you can afford a $20,000 gold watch on the salary you earn working here at the park?
All right. I have been making money on the side, but it's not what you think. I've been helping someone design a roller coaster. I even let him borrow the blueprints for our coaster, so he could study them, not steal them. I kept it secret because it could be construed as conflict of interest. This guy knows I'm taking a risk, so he pays me very well. Now, your turn. It's obvious that you've been nosing around in here. How did you get in?
There's not really any way to hide the truth about how Nancy gets the code.
Someone made a tape of you entering your security code into the keypad outside, which I just happened to see.
Harlan. I knew it bugged him that this place was off limits, but spying on me? That guy's got a real problem. As for you, I'd appreciate it if you would kindly remove your nice and deficient little self from my office. I have work to do.
Okay. Okay, I think maybe... Oh, never
This is
mind.
Tink.
Yes, hello. My name is Nancy Drew.
I never heard of you.
Yes, I know. I'm trying to help Ms. Santos figure out what caused the roller coaster accident that shut down Captain's Cove.
So why are you calling me? I run the carousel. I don't know from coasters.
Well, to make a long story short, I need to find out the name of the band organ song that's on the 3rd roll.
What for?
That's kind of where the long story part comes in.
I haven't got time for long stories. Besides, how do I know you even know Miss Santos?
Which is a fair question.
Okay, to get your number, I had to get the band organ open, right? And to get the band organ open, I had to have an access card. And to get an access card...
You'd have to know Miss Santos. Yeah, I get your point. Problem is, I got no idea what song's on the 3rd roll. Only way you're gonna find out is to play it.
Does a band organ still play paper rolls?
You bet. Just flip the switch from CD to roll. Of course, you're gonna need roll 3, ain't you? It's in the cabinet in the gear room.
You mean the one that's locked?
18, 9, 39. That's a combination. Oh, and one more thing. You're gonna have a problem when you go to load the roll on account of... Holy moly! I either snagged a greyhound bus or the biggest fish in the Chapleau River is right here on the end of my line. I'm sorry, hon, I gotta go.
I really like that too. Why can I not? No, Ingrid has to tell me about this. Okay. I'm not quite remembering the order of events as well as I thought. Okay. No, let's get the 3rd roll first. $18, $9, $39. Beautiful.
Let's see. Miles said the song is on the 3rd roll.
That would
This
be
must
this
be
one.
it.
So now, always have to do this again. Open up this.
This looks a little like the inside of my aunt's player piano.
Tried to put the roll
The
on.
take-up dowel is broken.
take the dowel. And now we have a whole new project. I like this music, kind of spooky. Okay, we want to go here.
All right, break time.
You sure you don't mind?
Are you kidding? As long as you're here, I have a legitimate reason for not working. I don't mind one iota.
I need to make a dowel to replace this broken one from the band organ. Would it be all right if I used your equipment? I won't make a mess, I promise.
Sure. Got a lathe, wooden rods, safety goggles. Knock yourself out. I gotta go run an errand, though, so try not to cut off any appendages until I get back.
I have to measure the dowel. And since he's gone, I can snoop.
Those look like horse tails.
Indeed, they do. Okay. So at 2.5, where the depth changes, and then it goes again until, so it's 1.25, or 11.25 rather. And then around 11.75. It's a bit thin again.
Wow, a lathe.
Safety goggles, important.
It's all fun and games until somebody loses an eye.
No dialogue. Okie dokie. So, what did I say about 2.5? I'm going to do this for a little while until it reaches 11.25. Probably the last time. And then try it just one. I don't remember what the depth is. That looks right.
That looks perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Better leave these goggles here.
And look at this.
If Elliot wrote this guy's number down, maybe I should too.
You bet. Carousel. New dowel. Put the roll on. Move that to roll. And there's the tape. Okay. See if I can memorize this. A-E-D-E. I don't have to jot this one down. I have these as notes somewhere. I think I've said this in other videos. I think down in our crawl space. Yeah, I'm not going to go look for them. Excellent. I like the tune. So now I need a harmonica. I still haven't been able to fix that doodad. I have the keyboard. Let's go talk to Harlan.
Hey, Nancy, what's up?
I'll see you around.
Go get him.
Hmm.
Will Nancy Drew
There
please
we
report
go.
immediately to the security office? And by immediately, I mean don't even think about doing anything else.
Okay.
I just got off the phone with Miss Santos. Where do you get off telling her I'm some kind of jewel-thieving peeping Tom?
I'm sorry, but I thought she had a right to know what I know.
You don't know zip. I had nothing to do with the theft of that carousel horse. Just because I did time doesn't mean I'm guilty of every crime that comes down the pike, you know?
It's just that when I found out you'd been spying on some of your co-workers...
I wasn't spying on them. I really think that to do my job right, I should be able to go anywhere in the park. You know, in case of emergencies. Okay, so maybe I'm trying a little too hard. Maybe people's entry codes should be off limits. It's just that this job means everything to me. I don't want to screw it up.
I guess I was a little overzealous, too. I'm really sorry. I'll see you around.
Yeah, they both have a point. And he's gonna page me again.
Will Nancy Drew please report to the security office?
This should get things rolling.
I stepped out for a second, and when I came back, somebody left this envelope on my desk. Looks like it's for you. Got your name on it anyway.
There's nothing inside but a key. Maybe it opens that door in the haunted house.
Here, let me toss that envelope for you. I want to apologize for jumping all over you like that before. The more I thought about it, the more I realized that I would have done just what you did. No hard feelings?
No hard feelings.
Excellent. Where did I say I'm going? The haunted house. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Those scraping sounds again.
That symbol looks familiar.
I always think I can go slightly closer. Okay, and then the key. Woohoo.
Maybe these stairs go down to Kessler's workshop. What was that?
Yeah, that could have ended badly. Okay, now I can go speak with Ingrid because I found her pliers.
Hello, Nancy. How goes it?
Here's your pliers. I found them in the haunted house behind that hidden door, which led to a booby trap.
I told you mine were missing. Maybe somebody found them and left them by that door on purpose. I don't know. But they prove nothing, I do know that.
Any advice on how to go about fixing the
Finally.
midway game that's broken?
It needs to be reprogrammed. Open up the back. Should be some instructions on the clipboard. Check that handbook I gave you if they're too cryptic for you. But you'll also need the plug-in keyboard. And unfortunately, I have no idea where it is. One of my guys probably left it in the park somewhere.
Thanks for your help.
Remember, niacin.
Yes, yes, I know. Okay. KM 5200. Okay. Krollmeister. Oh, it's right here as well. KM 5200. We have our instructions here. Okay, keyboard. KM 5200. There we go. Okay.
This is Barnacle Blast. After this, you'll have just one fun credit left on your card. Now blast all those nasty barnacles off the ship.
I can try. So many times I've played this and like lost, or like the balls miss the paddle when I have like 1 or 2 barnacles left. So I'm gonna put medium. Give me bigger barnacles, please. Yes, keyboard. Almost missed it that time. Oh, excellent. Oh, so close. How long is it going to take before I can get that one? Excellent. Yay! Okay. I got through level 1. Can I get through level 2? Oh, nope. I don't know why I started down. I normally start by going up top. Okay, I'm not getting... Oh boy. I'm not getting the angle I wanted. Oh, oh, this is pathetic. I've never played this game this poorly before. It must know I'm being recorded and that this is going to be uploaded. Okay, see, this is normally what I do. I normally get it up here right away. Come on, buddy. Oh no, no. This is just mean. Oh. The problem is, can I do this with the keyboard or mouse? With the keyboard, it's moving, like it doesn't move smoothly, it's chunks. So I'm not quite able to get it to go where I want it to go. Oh, and now my mouse is kind of in the way. Goodness sakes. Oh no. Oh, this is really bad. I have never had this much trouble playing this game before. This is stressful. Oh my god. Yeah, no, can't use. I really thought I could use the mouse. I really thought there was a way that it could move more smoothly, not so choppy as with the keyboard. Come on, we can do this. You can't tell, but I've moved forward in my seat. I'm really close to my monitor. very intent on not messing this up again. One more barnacle. Oh, finally! Success. Success. So glad I managed to get it. Hallelujah. Okay, so now we can get the harmonica that I've been wanting to get for a while. So we need 3 different tokens. Anchor, mermaid, and there's a clamshell. Shell. There we go. There's our harmonica. Ooh, and the music changed there. It's like in some of the other games, the music changes to indicate, you know, you've completed something. I think that's what the reason why the music changed here. It doesn't sound as triumphant as some have in previous games, but I still like that they changed the music.
Any luck?
I think we're all set. I know the tune, and I've got a harmonica.
Play it for Miles and see what happens.
My oral sensors are ready. Suck it to me.
Okay, did I remember?
Hooray!
I remember that song. I did ride the carousel. Over and over and over. Always the same horse. Always the same black horse.
You loved the carousel, and you loved one horse in particular. It was not the lead horse, and it was not spectacular, but you loved it, Joy. What was its name?
I can't remember.
So interesting, normally when I play this, I would have already figured out the name. I got sort of lost this time that I haven't actually written down on the paper from the filing cabinet the name of the horse. So I don't remember this dialogue as well. This is going to be interesting for me.
Is the name important?
I am not programmed to continue unless and until you remember the name of that horse. You loved it so much that your mother bought it for you.
We know that there's a record of this. So this is the continuity. It's not great here.
She was the one who bought the horse off the carousel? That's interesting. The park must have a record of that transaction.
I haven't seen it, but you're right. It must be around here somewhere.
I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
You're the greatest.
Yes, I am. Well,
Mind if I
Nancy
do
is.
a little more snooping?
Go ahead and look around. Excuse all the clutter. I'm still trying to get this place organized.
Oh, did I take that document? I don't remember. Yep. Exactly.
The name of the carousel horse is Glory.
There we go.
Any luck?
I know the name of that carousel horse your mother bought you. Glory.
Glory. That's right. Glory. My mother gave him to me for my birthday. My 4th birthday. She died in a car accident that very night.
How awful. No wonder you forgot how much you loved the carousel. It would have reminded you of your mother.
I hated the park after my mother died. I hated the carousel, and I hated that horse. I blamed it for what happened to my mother. I had my father destroy it.
But your father did not destroy it. Instead, he stored it. He hoped that someday, with the help of
Miles, the magnificent memory machine!
you would come to terms with your past. And because that is what you are doing, here is the 3rd and final riddle. Ask Tink for the book you and I used to read about Kessler and Amelia So Kind. Give her nickname a spin on spook number 10. Then the brass prize arrange on its forearm so strange. And something long lost and cherished you'll find.
Tink's the guy who runs the carousel. Let's give him a call. I've got his number.
No. Nancy, I did something terrible. I turned the power off to the roller coaster and caused the accident that shut down the park. I blamed Miss Santos for my father's death, just like I blamed that horse for what happened to my mother. I feel horrible. Keep going without me, Nancy. I have to go see Ms. Santos and apologize.
Yeah, what a tragic story. And I mean, they don't get into it, but this sort of talks about trauma and the effects of it and what happens when you don't cope in an effective manner. How it can bleed into your life as you continue to age and affect your working relationships, the way you view other people, how you handle other situations. When there's trauma, it is important to address it right away. And it might be difficult, but it does need to be talked about, or I don't like to say worked on, but worked on basically. If you let it sit and you don't deal with it, if you don't work through it, it can be really damaging. So there's an important lesson from this game about trauma and tragedy. Okay, I know I need to call Tink. I can do that from here. Tink is not going to be able to help us, but that's okay. Should have gone in the other direction.
This is Tink.
Hi, it's Nancy Drew. Did you land that fish?
I don't want to talk about it. Can I answer your question?
I really like Tink. I think he's a good character.
According to the late Daryl Trent, you have a book about Rolf Kessler and his wife.
Not anymore, I don't.
You don't have it?
Daryl Trent was kind of an oddball, you know what I mean? So when he gave me the book, I said I'd hang on to it just to humor him. As soon as he died, I pinched it.
Did you ever read the book yourself?
Nah, not really. I just kind of glanced through it.
Maybe you can help me. Kessler apparently had a special name for Amelia.
Who's Amelia?
Oh, never mind.
Sorry.
I'm curious, who do you think stole that horse off the carousel?
Kids. Staring at each other, doing stupid kid stuff. Or maybe somebody just liked the way old Nightshade looked and wanted him for himself. I don't know.
Nightshade?
That was its name. Nightshade. Kessler gave all of his horses names, painted them on their bridles.
Have fun fishing.
Oh, I will.
Okay, so now let's call Sukov.
Sukov.
My name is Nancy Drew. I saw the article you wrote about Rolf Kessler in the Collector's Hot Sheet magazine.
That was several months back, but go on.
Well, seeing as you're pretty much an expert on Kessler as well as carousels, I was hoping you could answer a question for me.
I'd be delighted.
Is that the voice of Hugh Penvillain from The Curse of Blackmore Manor? I think it might be. And Ingrid Corey, that voice actress, does the voice of Linda Penvillain. Fun fact.
Would you happen to know the nickname Rolf Kessler gave his wife, Amelia?
Of course I do. At least, I thought I did. It was an Austrian term of endearment, rather common. Oh, come on, Anton, think. Spazi. That was it. Spazi. S-P-A-T-Z-I. He always called her Spazi.
Did you by any chance hear about the horse that was stolen off the carousel at Captain's Cove Amusement Park in New Jersey? It was one of the carousels that Kessler carved.
Yes, I did, and I thought, how odd. Because, you see, I'd gotten a call from someone about a month prior to that asking me how much I thought one of those horses would be worth.
Really? Do you have any idea who it was that called?
None whatsoever. He never gave me his name, nor did he say where he was calling from. The thought that I may have actually encouraged someone to mutilate a work of art. Oh.
How much would a horse from a Kessler carousel be worth?
Depending on its condition, whether it's an inside horse or an outside horse, whether it's the lead horse, anywhere from $80,000 to well over $100,000.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
Yes, it is. But Kessler carved horses for only 5 carousels in his lifetime. So not only is each horse exquisitely beautiful, but it's very rare, especially if it's the lead horse.
The lead horse?
The outside horse, just behind the chariot. The place where you can sit instead of ride.
It's traditionally the most ornately carved horse on the carousel, hence the most valuable.
You do learn a lot about carousels and the horses in this game, as you should. I think you should have an opportunity to be educated in each of the games, and educated based on the theme or sort of your location. So in this case, carousels. I think it's really cool.
Did you hear about how the carousel at Captain's Cove is now allegedly haunted because one of the horses was stolen?
Yes, what a wonderfully romantic piece of nonsense.
Are any of Kessler's other carousels thought to be haunted?
No, the one at Captain's Cove is a first. But I think I know what's going on. Someone wants publicity. Whoever stole the horse wants people to know that it's gone so that when he or she goes to sell it, there will be a whole slew of eager buyers.
But we're talking about stolen property. Are you saying people would willingly buy something they know was stolen?
We're talking about the black market, my dear. Great works of art get stolen by thieves and bought by less than scrupulous collectors all the time.
And I love this sort of storyline about stolen art. In this case, it's a carousel horse, but I do think the thievery in the art world is quite fascinating. Yeah, I think it's an interesting line of, I don't want to say a business line, just an interesting story, I guess.
If someone did steal that horse off the carousel in order to make money off of it, what would be his or her next move? How would they go about selling it?
Well, the thief would probably get a middleman to set up a bidding war between several buyers in order to get the highest price. The internet comes in very handy in such matters.
Yay, her interactive capitalized internet. That is the correct way to spell internet. It is always supposed to be capitalized. So glad to see that done here.
Thanks for all the info.
Call again anytime.
Alrighty. So, I'm not being able to do this right away, but I think I still have to go take a look at this. Which I know I do because I didn't acknowledge the tag on it before because I couldn't get close
Looks
to
like
it.
Spook 10 is missing an arm. It's been red tagged. Better not take the tag until I fix this.
A few more steps. Really close to the end.
Hello, Nancy. How goes it?
There's a dummy in the haunted house that's been red tagged. It's missing an arm. Any chance it'll be up and running again in the near future?
Got the arm right here. Just needed a battery. That's one of the dummies Joy Trent's father created. Probably why the circuitry is so bizarre. It works though, so just reattach it. You'll need pliers.
Which I had.
Oh, and don't forget to take the red tag back to Spy Master Bishop.
Thanks for your help.
No big deal.
There are the pliers again. Good, good. Okay.
The arm is missing.
Oh, I always think, again, that I can go closer. Okay, my pliers, and we're turning this little screw doohickey. I used to think I was somehow tightening this and it didn't make any sense to me because I couldn't see this thing turning.
That looks tight enough.
Lovely. Okay, now we go to Spy Master Bishop. Get the power turned back on.
Hey, Nancy, what's up?
Could you please turn the juice back on to the dummy in the haunted house that Ingrid was fixing? Here's the tag.
You've really got the system down, don't you? I'll just flip the switch and you'll be good to go.
Thank you.
I'll see you around.
Knock 'em dead.
Okay.
It's locked.
Oh. How silly. Okay. Right near the end. Definitely in the home stretch. Ooh, it's all lit up. It's fancy. And somehow, those all change. There we go. Brass ring. Oi. There we go. Oh, joy. This is it. Yes, it is.
That must be Glory. These stairs sure don't feel very safe.
They don't sound very safe either. Pretty dangerous.
Oh my gosh, these must be jewels from that jewel heist.
Do this
A
first.
letter. Joy's father must have left it for her.
I think if you click the jewels, you might miss the letter. I don't know.
My
Might be
dearest
wrong.
Joy, I hope Miles and his riddles have helped you remember how much you adored this horse and how dearly you loved the woman who gave it to you. I found this picture of her years ago, but I didn't want to give it to you until I knew you were ready. She loved you more than anything, Joy. We both did. Dad. P.S. If you want to see where Glory was carved, look for Kessler's symbol on the wall. I could never spend a lot of time in there. Very strange vibes.
It's really weird sounds in the background while we're reading that letter.
I should probably take these with me.
Always bugs me that there's still some jewelry there and we just leave it.
So this was Kessler's workshop.
Pretty
I'll
cool.
bet that's the carousel horse that was stolen. Somebody's been making reproductions, or should I say forgeries.
Forgeries would be the accurate term. Whole whack of them. Yeah. Okay, we're at the end. We're at the end. This door means the end.
Nancy, Nancy, Nancy. What have you done?
It's what you've done. You stole the horse, you fabricated the whole Haunted Carousel thing to increase its value, and now you're making not just one forgery, but several.
You think?
You let everyone believe you were just a hopeless procrastinator. But this is the real reason you're behind in your work, isn't it?
Right on all counts. Unfortunately, you're not going to get to tell anyone else. Ever.
No, wait. Look what I have. They're diamonds. Real diamonds. Someone stole them 23 years ago and stashed them in the park.
Well, well, little icing on the cake.
I like the hand gesture there.
That's right. You want them? Here.
Ouch! Hey!
Huzzah.
I've got to get out of here.
And the first time I played this game, I accidentally won because I didn't realize what I was clicking.
I'm trapped. I've got to get out of here.
I've got you, Nancy. You're cornered. You might as well give up.
A little hop. Yes, I accidentally clicked over here the first time I played this game.
Soon as I get out of here, I'm going to call the police, Elliot. So don't bother making plans for tonight. Or the next 10 years. Dear Ned, after trapping Elliot, I managed to pry the exit open and had Harlan call the police. Elliot admitted to stealing the carousel horse and planning the remote control device. He knew that publicity from the hauntings would increase the value of his forgeries. Needless to say, he's gone back to not liking me. Harlan, on the other hand, adores me now, because not only did he share the credit for busting Elliot, but his sudden fame brought him 3 job offers. He's staying on at Captain's Cove out of loyalty to Paula, but he's happy knowing that being an ex-con will probably never be an issue for him again. As for Ingrid, she promptly attributed Elliot's bad behavior to a deficiency in some mineral I couldn't pronounce. And Joy, when I gave her the picture of her mother, she started smiling and has yet to stop. Inventing Miles was the best thing her late father could have done for her. In fact, when I went to the park to say goodbye just now, she wasn't in her office. She was riding the carousel. Ever yours, Nancy.
Trailer. No. Fanfare. Puzzle Master. Yep. That's what I get pretty much every time. Now a trailer.
reached 555-4468. I can't come to the phone right now, so please leave a message.
Hi, Bess. Hi, George. Well, thanks to you guys, I'm leaving here and flying directly to the Pacific Northwest for some much-needed R&R. George, I just got off the phone with that marine biologist friend of yours. She insisted I stay with her, and she even said she'd take me whale watching on the tour boat she owns. Anyway, thanks for arranging this little vacation, you two. 1 whole week of peace, quiet, and sitting around doing nothing. This is gonna be awesome. Bye!
Yeah. And there we go. Game number 8, the Haunted Carousel, complete. Yeah, the first time I played this game, I accidentally won. Yeah. I was really surprised when I knocked Elliot out. Now I know what I'm doing. I'm doing it intentionally. Yes, so there we go. Finished the game in, what, not quite 2 hours? Pretty close. I feel like it's normally a little bit quicker, but I got a little stuck. Just forgetting the sequence, trying to get that one midway game fixed. And that's okay. Makes it a little bit more fun. I still have to think sometimes, which is not the way it often happens when I play the games because I've played them so many times. Anyways, I'll just quickly go over the game. Yeah, I love the game. I love being outdoors. I mean, we're in offices, but it's set out at a park, so you are outside. I like the characters. I think they all stand out in really nice ways. They're all unique. Really enjoy speaking with Tink. Miles, even though, like I'd said, I believe he was sort of voted favorite character on the message board, he's not actually my favorite. I might have voted for him initially. I really like the cast of characters overall, though. I don't think there's anyone I don't care for as far as the people, the physical characters, or even the phone contacts. I really like the storyline. I think it's really neat. Again, the theft of art, I find really intriguing. So it's a story that works for me, and I like that it touches on the black market and forgeries and all that. And giving ex-cons a chance. I think that's a really important storyline. I like, what else do I like? The music. I think it suits the theme park very well. Yeah, it's a fun game. I've always considered this to be one of the shorter games. It's nice when I just want something easy to play. This is one I'll often pick up. This and, I guess, Secret of the Old Clock. Yeah, great game, great fun, good characters, good storyline. Yeah, a game I enjoy. I don't know what I'd rate it. 10 out of 10, I don't know if that's too high. Is it perfect? Maybe. It's a good game. Oh, I did want to briefly touch on Joy and her storyline, that really sad, tragic story. But the importance of addressing your trauma is incredibly important. And it might be difficult, and I said this earlier, it can be very difficult to broach. But if you don't address it, if you don't find healthy coping mechanisms, it can be very damaging, and it will likely affect you throughout your life and affect you in rather negative ways. So very important if you are experiencing trauma to seek counseling. I think that's incredibly important. And while I'm on the topic of counseling, it's not just for trauma. Any anxiety, bullying, this goes back to the term losers, which really bothers me. And it always has, even before I started the job I'm in. But I mean, I deal with kids who are trying to cope with anxiety, and a lot of them with difficulties with their friend groups, and bullying is an issue. And I think the word losers is really a put down. It can be sort of a bullying term. I don't like it. So yeah, these are just very important things to think about, our language we use and how we treat people and how we treat ourselves and how to be healthy and find healthy coping mechanisms. So some very important things that you can kind of draw out of this game that I called very light earlier, and it is, but there is some depth to it, which is really great. It's there if you're looking for it, and even if you're not, you can pull it out. Anyways, that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to take up any more of your time. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my playthrough. Coming up next will eventually be a book comparison for the Haunted Carousel. I look forward to doing that. I haven't read that book in a long time. So once again, thank you very much for your time. Have a great day, everyone. Stay safe. Bye-bye now.